eventually you'll slide back into that place of we're not paying that much of attention to it, we're not in it together, we're doing it like kind of happenstance. Whatever happens is just gonna happen, right? And the truth is, if you operate that way in any area of your life, you will not progress toward your goals. Once you have an idea of where you want to go, you'll know the steps that you need to take in order to get there. It doesn't just happen miraculously. It doesn't all of a sudden just appear unless you put some effort toward it. Welcome back to the Serve One podcast. Great job. You've made it a long way with these goal setting sessions on the 5 F's. Remember, the 5 F's are faith, family, fitness, finances, and your future. Now, what I want you to do is create a rule of life. We've been talking about that. Essentially, a rule of life is you just telling your life what it's going to do. You're going to build that based off of the overarching goals that you have, right? What ultimately do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to go? Have an honest assessment about where I am right now. And then in your rule of life, you're really going to put down some of those very specific things that you will do on a regular basis in order to get where you want to go. Okay. So today we're talking about your finances. And if I'm completely honest, this is probably the area within the 5 F's that I feel the least qualified to talk about. I cannot say that I'm the type of person that has put a ton of effort and gained much education around the way finances work. I do know a little bit at this point about personal finances, just because I've been through some ups and downs of difficult financial seasons, as well as financial seasons that were a little bit more blessed, a little bit better. And I learned how to navigate through life in both of those situations. But what you cannot do is walk through your life completely ignoring your finances. I think that this is the thing that a lot of people will do is they just kind of have a salary that they're making and they kind of have some money that is coming up and they have no plan for what they're going to do with their finances. You have got to develop a plan. Some of this you can put down in a rule of life. But what I'm talking about is developing a budget for the money that you do have coming in and then starting to dream and brainstorm. Where do I want to go? Once you have an idea of where you want to go, you'll know the steps that you need to take in order to get there. It doesn't just happen miraculously. It doesn't all of a sudden just appear unless you put some effort toward it. Now, years ago, I had a good bit of debt, credit card debt, and I actually owned a business and I had a little bit of debt to the IRS. Lindsay and I, we built a home in 2008, 2009, and that's when the housing market crashed. And all of a sudden, we were in a brand new home with the biggest financial obligation that we ever had. And my job at the time was painting new construction homes. So I know for some of you, you weren't even born in 2008, 2009. Sorry, I know I'm aging myself here, but at that time, all new construction, all new homes were immediately put on hold overnight. I literally pulled up to a new job, brand new house that was being built for my dad and I to start painting. And the contractor calls us that morning. Not kidding. We pulled up to the house. As soon as we're pulling up, my dad gets a phone call and says, "Hey, I need you to hold off on this one." So suddenly, Lindsay and I are walking through one of the biggest financial obligations we have ever had with absolutely no income. Okay, this forced us to get lean. This forced us to pay attention to our finances. This forced us to do it together and start to think through, all right, how are we going to figure this out? And that was a tough season for us, but we learned a lot. The crazy thing is, if you don't from that point put together a plan and say, this is what we're going to do, eventually you'll slide back into that place of we're not paying that much of attention to it. We're not in it together. We're doing it like kind of happenstance. Whatever happens is just going to happen, right? And the truth is, if you operate that way in any area of your life, you will not progress toward your goals. Like if you were to write down a dream scenario for your finances, or a dream scenario for your fitness, or a dream scenario for your faith, if you were to write that down and you do not have a plan for it, you are never going to get towards those dream situations. They just become pipe dreams at that point. You've got to put legs to your dreams and actually work toward it. So we needed to start working on our finances. One of the big things that we had to do was to tackle credit card debt. When Lindsay and I got married, we had a little bit of credit card debt. We had a little bit of school loan debt. And then we stepped into this housing situation that put a ton of debt on top of us. Through that season, we put a budget together and we started to move towards the goals that we wanted, move towards the life that we wanted. Okay, so I want you to start dreaming about what is the life you want and start taking steps towards that. As we progressed through life and as we started to hit some of our goals, one of those being getting out of debt, we were able to start thinking in a different way. It is impossible for me to describe what that feeling was like. This is one of those things that has to be felt. Like I could tell you it's going to be liberating. I could tell you it's going to feel like you've got so much freedom, like the monkey is off of your back and you can start moving forward with your life. I could tell you what that feels like all that I want to, but until you actually experience it, you have no idea the life change that will happen just because of that. Because what happened was, the moment that Lindsay and I no longer had credit card debt and any consumer debt, the moment all of that was gone, immediately I stopped feeling bound to paycheck to paycheck and bound to earning and bound to this need to perform at a certain level, because there was no burden necessarily that I got to pay that bill. That bill is coming every month and I have to be prepared and I have to pay for that. So my brain was actually able to start to process thoughts around finances in a very, very different way. If you currently are in debt and you've been holding on to that for a long period of time, maybe you're hoping at some point in the future you're going to get an inheritance and that's when you'll take care of the debt. I would tell you, start making strides towards paying off your debt, because you will be able to think more clearly about your life holistically when you get out of debt. This trickles over into every aspect of your life. Not only will you start to think differently about your finances, but you'll start to think differently about your faith. You'll start to think differently about your relationships with different people. You'll start to think differently about your own fitness when you get out of debt. Why? Because you freed up space in your mind that at one point was triggering a lot of stress. It was triggering a lot of anxiety. You know what it's like when you pulled up that statement. It was like, oh my gosh, I still have this mountain that I am trying to remove from my life. And it feels like I've got a spoon just barely digging away each and every day. All of that stress that comes along with something like that affects every aspect of your life. When you get out of debt, when you stop carrying debt, you start to think and live very, very differently. I need you to do that. Your life will completely change. Then you can start asking some different questions. What does the future look like? Well, what does earning more money look like? Can I take some risks in some areas and maybe I'm no longer bound to this job where I was earning minimum wage, and maybe I can actually start doing something else. It's going to be a little bit of risk, but I'm not bound to the paycheck from this place. So now I have the freedom to chase after something a whole lot more. I want you to have financial freedom, and I want you to experience what comes along with that. The freedom to pick and choose what you're going to do with your life, to truly dream and then be able to chase after those dreams because you're not bound by the debt. So some massive things that you need to do in order to get out of that debt is budget. I've already mentioned this. You need to put together a written budget, not like I keep it in my mind. You would be surprised how many people I speak with and I ask them, do you have a budget? And they're like, I kind of know what's going on. I'm like, no, that is not a budget. That is just a hope and a dream that one day you'll no longer have any debt, or that you have any idea what is going on with your money, right? You have got to write down absolutely everything that you make and then account for where that money is going to go. You need to tell your money where it is going to go. Now, a big part of Lindsay and I getting out of debt was prescribing to Dave Ramsey's plan, right? I would recommend any of his resources. Go grab it, consume everything that he's got when it comes to handling your finances. I know there are a lot of people that will push back on, oh, he's old school, this and that. Like, he helps people who are in debt get out of debt. If you're currently in a place where you are in debt, running your finances the way you have been running your finances, you are losing. You are not doing a good job. Well, Philip, I've been striving, I've been trying to do this and that, but I don't care. You can give me all the excuses you want. You need a plan, and Dave Ramsey has a really great plan to get out of debt. Just pick a plan and follow it. If you can't do that, do something else, but move forward in your finances. I want this for you so bad. So write down that budget, account for where every dollar is going. Currently, Lindsay and I have a monthly budget meeting where we look at everywhere we spent money over the course of the last month, and we assess, oh, did we go over budget in an area, or are we under budget in an area? Are there things that are coming up next month that are going to be greater expenses? Or are there things that we're not going to have to handle this month that maybe we'll have a little bit of freedom in an area? So we'll look at the previous month's expenses, and then we'll assess that, make some modifications, and we'll go ahead and plan for the next month. Let me tell you something. The first time you do this, the first time you actually sit down and plan this out, whether you're single or you're married, it doesn't matter. The first time you sit this, you're going to get really frustrated because you're going to realize, dang, I have been wasting a lot of money in places that I truly cannot afford to waste money. And I've been complaining about my student loan payment when I am paying double that amount at Starbucks. The only thing is right now, since it's kind of up here somewhere and you're kind of keeping track of it, you have no idea how much money you're actually spending on fast food right now, or how much money you're spending on any number of just random, maybe subscriptions. Maybe that's the thing that you need to do right now, is start to analyze how many subscriptions to different TV programs or places where we can watch TV. How many subscriptions do we have, and how much is that costing us on a monthly basis? If you have never taken an account of it, you have no idea. Currently, Lindsay and I only have accounts to Amazon, so we can watch shows on Amazon, but that's connected to our Amazon Prime account where we spend a lot of money, as well as Apple, because we have other subscriptions with Apple for music, and so we're able to access Apple TV shows and programs. Those are the only two places that we have. A while back, we chose to get rid of Netflix and to get rid of Disney Plus and Hulu and whatever else. In fact, we never had any cable or anything like that. And I got to tell you something. My friends laugh at me because we get together, a group of us, and we're hanging out, and somebody is like, oh, did you see this happen in this show? And they start talking about it. And the joke is like, well, we know Philip didn't see it. And they laugh at me because I have kind of this thing where we don't watch Netflix. Well, you can go ahead and somebody else who has a Netflix that you could borrow their account. Well, I don't got time to waste watching that many more shows. I'm an ambitious person. I want to go somewhere. I want to grow. And that's my challenge to you. I want you to grow. So where are you wasting time and where are you wasting money? You've got to analyze it to be able to figure out, okay, here's the adjustments that I need to make in order to get where I want to go. This is what I want for you. I want you to go from where you're at right now to where you want to go. So you're going to budget some things and have a plan. You're going to tell your money where it needs to go. If you do something like every dollar, you go online and do every dollar, it will make it easy for you. It'll automatically pull in all of your charges. You can add any of your debts to it and it will keep track of all of that stuff. And you can start to have a plan for moving things forward. Every dollar is an online accounting software through Dave Ramsey, through the Ramsey network and all of that. You can use that, or you can just search for any online source that will automatically pull in your bank accounts. Yes, there might be a charge for that. I think we pay $85 annually for a subscription to every dollar, but there it pulls in all of our bank accounts, from any money that we're making to any charges. It pulls in any credit cards that we would have. It pulls our mortgage in. It pulls in our 403B and our Roth IRAs. It pulls all of that stuff in so we can see it in one place and we can plan for where we want to go. So you have got to have that written plan and be thinking through, okay, this is what we're going to do. We need to be able to see so that we can cut out the unnecessary expenses. And then you might be in a place where there is absolutely no money at the end of the month and you're trying to figure out how in the world am I going to get by? Right now, I need you to start thinking through, how do I increase my income streams? It's either adding an additional income stream, if you're able to do that, or going to a job that pays you a little bit better. Now, that could be, this is the only job I can get based off of my current level of education or my current level of experience. Okay. If you need to get more education and more experience in order to get the financial dreams that you want, I would encourage you to do that. But one of the easiest ways to do that is start to volunteer in a place where you can get experience. Hopefully that aligns with the job that you're already a part of or aligns with the dreams that you have so that you can grow in that experience. You might be working in a company right now and just showing up and doing the bare minimum, hoping to get by. Well, if you start, say, volunteering or asking others in the industry, can I help you? You'll grow in your knowledge base and then you'll have greater opportunities to move up, get promotions, and start to make more money. I want this for you so bad because I know the benefits of getting out of debt, starting to move towards having an emergency fund so that once you have that emergency fund, when your car breaks down, like literally mine did this week, and it cost us $700 to repair, when that happens, your whole life doesn't flip upside down. It's a little bit like Lindsay and I look at each other and I'm like, oh my gosh, here's another thing, it's $700, but I got the money there in the bank ready to go. So I don't have to stress. I don't lose sleep. I just go ahead, take care of it. We're back on the road. We're moving forward again. But you don't get to experience that level of freedom until you develop a plan for your finances. Now, I know from this point, there are so many places that you can go in terms of learning how to increase your income and investment properties and investing in the stock market and all of those types of things. I know there's all of that stuff that you can get into, but this is base level, right? We're keeping it at base level. Moving from I have no plan and I'm hoping and dreaming things are going to work out to, okay, I have a written plan. I have an idea of where all my money is going. And now I can start to dream about what the future can look like. Grow in your finances. I believe that God wants this for you. I want this for you. And I'm excited to hear how God moves in your life as you progress in this area of your life. Thank you so much for being a part of the Serve One podcast. I'm excited for this community and all the growth that is happening. I had somebody come up to me this weekend and just mention how helpful this has been for her. So if it's been helpful for you, make sure that you like and subscribe and share this content with somebody that you know needs to hear it. I love you guys so much, and I can't wait till next time.